It was just before 9 o'clock p.m. here at the State Fair. There was a altercation that occurred in the Bennett Event Center between two groups of people. During that altercation, one person pulled out a gun or produced a gun and fired a shot at another person. At the time, there's one shooting victim that was transported to a local hospital in critical condition. There were a few other people that were reported with injuries, probably due to the chaos and the crowd leaving the fair as quickly as possible. We did get two people into custody right now that we're trying to determine their involvement. It is believed one of those is the shooter and is the suspect in this incident. Again, it's very early on in the investigation, and we're still trying to determine exactly what happened. Again, there was one shooting victim and we have two people in custody, so we're trying to determine exactly what occurred. We're looking through video, we're searching the area for any evidence, and we'll have our detectives come out and start processing and talking to witnesses, and our crime scene unit come out and processing the scene.
You have teams here on the ground at the State Fair the whole time it's happening. Can you talk about what their response was like?
Yes, obviously whenever the incident occurred, that went out over the radios, and the officers that were in the area, the officers immediately, came to the area and started looking for the suspect and making sure that they were rendering aid to whatever victims that they did locate, and started getting people to safety and clearing the area to make sure it was safe.
And did it happen within the actual center itself? And if so, was it in like a corridor, a hallway, or a tucked away area separate from the crowd of people, or was it in the main area where everyone else was?
It happened inside the Bennett Event Center. I believe it happened on one end of it. There was another incident with another person that had fired off some rounds into the air, and we immediately began trying to get all those people involved in custody, get witnesses, and everyone detained as quickly as possible to figure out what was going on so we can identify who the suspects were.
So the other shots being fired in the air, was that a separate incident? Can you explain that a little more?
It looks like it was all involved somehow in this altercation between these groups of people, that after the initial shooting, everyone started running, and there was another person that had fired a gun off in the air there.
Do you believe it's the same shooter or not sure?
We don't know yet. Again, we're searching through all the videos, talking to all the witnesses to try to determine how many shooters there were and who all was involved in this incident.
Can you talk about the system you guys have in place, or that the State Fair has in place to keep guns out of here?
Yeah, so the State Fair has a policy where you cannot carry guns inside. They have the detectors and the security there at the gates to double check to make sure that people aren't bringing guns inside. And obviously, if you do, you're not allowed in with it.
Has the weapon been recovered?
Yes, one of the people we detained did have a firearm on them. That was recovered. Again, it's early on in the investigation to determine if that was the firearm that was used in the shooting.
And as far as the State Fair, tomorrow is the last day. Do you have any indication of if things are reopened or if this is it for the year?
I don't know as far as if they're going to reopen tomorrow. I haven't talked to anyone from the State Fair or anyone that is on that board or committee to determine if they're going to open tomorrow. That's something that you would have to ask them.
As far as, those metal detectors you talked about, is there any indication as to someone slipping in, someone somehow getting past the metal detectors still?
That we don't know. Again, we'll look at everything. We'll check cameras. We'll talk to witnesses, try to determine how that firearm did get into the fair.
I know Chief Corley said that there's actually an increased amount of officers here on the weekends. Is there any indication of exactly how many officers were here at the fair already when the incident happened?
I don't have the exact number of officers that were here tonight, but there was an increase in officers. Definitely on the weekends, Fridays and Saturday nights are very busy times, and that's usually when we have a lot of issues that occur within the fair, just from the crowd of people and people coming in and out. So we did have more officers than what we normally have out here.
Multiple witnesses told us about different people getting separated from parents, families, stuff like that. Did you guys have to reunite people? Can you talk about that at all?
Yes, anytime anyone gets separated, we do have officers that work quickly to try to reunite families, children with their parents. We have our missing persons unit that works out here during the fair every day that the fair is open. That helps with the reunification if someone gets separated.
Were they activated for this?
They were out here.
And I know that the sheriff's office has its command center too, and that there's the safety offices and everything. So from a command standpoint and everything, I mean, it seems like everything happened pretty expeditiously, that the right people were already here to get people out safely, that they're pretty quick
Yes, very quick response. We had several officers here, several of our different units here to respond. We had our some of our tactical unit guys show up and clear the buildings just for extra measures to make sure everything was safe. So it was a very quick response and trying to get everyone to safety and get everyone cleared out of here as quickly as possible.
You guys were command. How much were the sheriff's office and OHP involved, if at all?
I'm sorry.
How much were the sheriff's office and OHP involved, if at all?
Everyone that works here at the fair, it's a team effort. So they're very involved with helping us. We try to work together to get everything
Were there
done.
troopers here?
I don't know as far as troopers. We do have the sheriff's office and we do have the fire department, IMSA, and everyone that work out here. And we always are trying to work together as a team to get everything done and everything working safely and cohesively.
And you mentioned there was a group that was fighting before the shooting began. Is there any indication of how big or small that group was? And are the other members of that group, are those people that you're looking for that you've already questioned and you understand that the role that they played in that?
We're not sure how big the group was. It did look like several people. Again, we're going to investigate, try to get everyone involved identified that was a part of this incident, and our detectives will work very hard in getting that solved.